What's in your bag? Do you have a range bag? What's in it? What do you got in your range bag? I'm always curious to see, what's that guy got? What's that guy got? Well, those are cool. How much was that? Oh, that's expensive. Oh, that's nice. Can I try that? Whether you're new to shooting or you've been shooting for a while, you probably have a range bag or you're looking to build a range bag. And everybody's got the question, what stuff goes in a range bag? What stuff should I have in my range bag? If you're new to shooting and you're about to go off to the range and you're not sure what to bring with you, stick around and we're gonna go over a range bag checklist. All the essentials, all the stuff that you need to get started shooting at the range. But wait, there's more. If you've been shooting for a while, if the spider that bit Peter Parker already bit into your neck and you feel yourself turning into Spider-Man and you're already going down that rabbit hole and you got the beginner stuff and you're like, oh man, I want to take it to the next level. Now what do I need? We got you covered too. And for my firearms instructors and my firearms enthusiast friends out there that probably already have all the basics and even the next level stuff. I've been a firearms instructor for a while, and I got a lot of the stuff that I bring with me to the range to help somebody else shoot. So I don't have all of it with me, but we're going to bust into the bag a little bit, and I got a list to go through of items that you need to get started, that you could use to, like, I got started already and I need the next level stuff, and some more stuff down the road. As always, if there's stuff that you're watching this and you're like, dude, you're missing this or that, put it in the comments. Let me know. I'm a student first, and I love hearing from you guys, and especially when I get I always want to know what am I missing? What else could I have? What else do I want that I can't afford? What's up, warriors? This is Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training, here to share with you some warrior skills and drills that anyone can learn and everyone should know. If you're new to the channel, welcome and thanks for stopping by. If you already follow us on social media and that's how you found your way over to this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification button, and YouTube will let you know when the next video drops so you can get all sorts of cool content from here as well. All right, so I have a bunch of stuff laid out on the table. This is my main range bag. It's not a big bag at all. I have other range bags also. I have a much bigger one that I seldom use. I typically go to the range with this pack, one ammo can, and whatever gun, like if I'm bringing a bag, I have my case with my rifles or pistols or stuff in it. If I'm going to be shooting just pistol, I fit the bulk of this stuff in this bag with whatever pistol. If it's, I'm a police officer, so I often have my gun on me. If I'm going to be shooting other guns, they typically fit in there. And if they don't, then I either have a bigger case or I'll bring a backpack or something. But for the most part, I bring this bag, most of this stuff, and one can which will hold some ammunition, magazines, and things like that. A lot of the stuff that we're going to cover is going to sound like no-brainer stuff, like duh, silly. But again, this is for, I have a lot of, I teach a lot of beginners, like brand new shooters, first-time gun owners that have no idea about anything that goes on in the firearms world. So when they come in, I'm glad that they're coming for firearm safety lessons and range safety and basic fundamentals. One of the things that they often ask is like, all right, I'll meet you at the range. What should I bring? Or when I text them or email them, I'll say, hey, when you come to the range, make sure you have. And I give them a very basic list of things that they should have no matter what. If you're going to own a gun and you're going to go to the range, you have your must-haves. When we get to the range, they'll often ask oh, what's this or what's that or what's that other thing that you got in that bag? What do you use that for? And some of those things are nice to haves. And then for somebody that's going to be shooting a lot and really getting into it and teaching or shooting competitively or stuff like that, then there's different must-haves because you're doing it for a different purpose, different reason. So first, let's just go over the must-haves. So you don't ever want to walk into the range holding a gun in your hand, right? That's a no-no. So if you're going to be shooting long guns, my wife just got me this for Christmas. I do a lot of shooting, a lot of teaching, and I oftentimes need more than one gun with me. So it was just getting cumbersome to be walking around with all these cases. So this is a cool case made by Condor if you want. I was thinking of doing a review on it. I actually bought this one in another company. I can compare the two. But this holds, it's supposed to hold 2 rifles, but it holds more than that. I've loaded it with more than that. And the short of this, just make sure when you're going to go to the range, obviously bring your gun, unless you're going to be renting one or somebody there's going to be letting you use theirs. Make sure you check the laws on that. I'm in New York, and you can shoot each other's rifles if they're New York Safe Act compliant or whatever, but pistols, you can only shoot your pistol, whatever's licensed and registered to you. So make sure that you bring your gun in a case, unloaded. Rangers frown upon somebody walking in there with a gun in their hand. Most places frown upon somebody walking in with a gun in their hand. Again, sounds like a no-brainer, but I've been teaching a while and I've seen some crazy stuff, so make sure we get that out of the way. Don't be that guy. So the next thing is your range bag. What goes in your range bag? At the very least, if you walked in there with like a grocery bag with a few items in it, you need stuff to protect your eyes and your ears and a baseball cap. That's like the bare minimum. You put on the eye protection, and I always recommend having 2 pairs because 2 is one is none. You have 1 pair and it breaks on you, and then if you don't have another pair to put on, your day's over. So 2 pairs of eyes, 2 pairs of ears. I have these electronic ones, which, they get some batteries in there, and you turn on the switch, and I can hear everything. And then as soon, I don't know how, it's magic, but it cancels out like the loud, gunfire. Magic. But if this goes down, I always have a spare. I teach a lot. Somebody forgets theirs, I have a spare. So 2 is 1, 1 is none. And on that same note, I have another pair in the car, but sunglasses too. If you're going to be shooting outdoors and it's too bright, you have not just clear goggles or clear eye protection, but sunglasses ones. The purpose for having a baseball cap is, it helps keep the sun out of your eyes, but even for shooting indoors, if you've never been shooting next to someone and had their hot brass land between your goggles and your face, well, that is quite the feeling, let me tell you. Ladies and guys, here's another one that, again, might sound like common sense. Ladies, wear a crew neck shirt, something that's going to cover you all the way up to your neck, because having one of those hot shell casings land down your shirt, very uncomfortable. Guys with the carpenter plumber butt, whatever you call that, with your pants not with your butt kind of hanging out. I've seen the shell land in there, and the dance that typically follows is funny, except when the person's doing it with a loaded firearm in their hand and waving it all sorts of ways. So the hat is really not just to keep the sun out of your eyes, but it's to keep, the shells, like you shoot, your round goes down range, and the shell comes out to the side and flies all over the place. You don't want that to land on your face, down your shirt, down your pants, any way you don't want it. So keep everything covered the best that you can. Gloves. Gloves are like should have. So like you have your gloves like you're going to be taking your gun apart or touching anything that has a lot of lead on it. You put these gloves on for that. If you're going to be shooting at an outdoor range and you're going to be moving stuff around, maybe you're going to be lifting targets and moving targets around, targets that have been shot 1,000,000 times. Like I know when I shoot outside and we're shooting steel and we got to bring the heavy targets from one spot to another, throw on your work gloves, nice pair of mechanics. I'm a big fan of mechanics gloves. You just, those are for, or if your job requires you to have gloves like that on and you might be shooting, within the course of your duties and have gloves on, then you should train that way. A bandana. There's 1,000,000 uses for a bandana, from smoke inside or something that you just need to kind of cover your face from some of the elements. Wipe yourself down. I wouldn't use the same one to wipe down my gun that I would use to wipe down myself, but if you needed to wipe down your gun and you don't have a cloth, you could use the bandana, just wash it real good before you go and start touching yourself with it. So your very basic kit should be eye protection, ear protection, hat, gloves, bandana. Now, along with that, some sort of boo-boo kit. This is like these are like $2 at the, CVS or, pharmacy store. I add a few things to it. It's just got some Band-Aids, some stuff to like, clean the area. If you're at a range, it's outside and you're not right by a bathroom or something, you want something to kind of like wash yourself off a little bit. I got tweezers in case I got to like pick something out of myself. Sometimes every now and then something comes flying back or bounce off of something, and you shoot the wrong thing and it splinters and you catch one. Again, a reason why you have your eye protection on. But I got tweezers, I got chapstick, some Neosporin, and it's just a boo-boo kit. That's you know, good to have. Now this is a trauma kit. Think about it, like a trauma kit is really designed to stop bleeding. God forbid somebody is shot or impaled or whatever, like massive bleed type of thing. This is a video all by itself, but in a trauma kit, you basically have, most important, tourniquet. So even if you didn't carry a whole trauma kit, you should keep a tourniquet with your range bag. Again, more gloves, a emergency blanket for shock. Stop the bleed stuff is chest seals, combat gauze, and quick clot. This goes up the nose to create a solid airway. Some shears for cutting through clothes in case you got to get to it. Some tape, gloves. The blue gloves, not the black ones. You can't see blood on black. Tourniquet the limbs. Seal the box. Pack the junctions, like all the spots that are in between. It's not the arm, it's not the leg, and it's not inside like the heart, lungs area. You pack with this, wrap it with this. So that's a trauma kit. I think a trauma kit should be somewhere between must-have and nice-to-have. It's more important than nice-to-have. In my opinion, you should, at the very least, tourniquet. But it's very important. Another must-have, you're going to bring your gun in a case. You need to bring ammunition with you, right? So this is a plastic one. I have metal ammo cans. You know, it's just a way to like transport both ammunition, spare magazines. That's another must-have. It's light. It's portable. It's easy. It's got a little hole if you want to lock it. You could lock it up. If you're going to keep it home and not have it, you know, secured somewhere, and there's stuff that you don't want curious eyes and minds getting to, there's a hole to lock it up. But when you go to the range, you want something to carry that's going to carry both your ammunition, your spare magazines. A couple different ways to transport your ammunition. So this is a box of 50 rounds, right? And when you open it up, you know, they're stacked in there nice and neat and, you know, fancy, you know, and it is very easy when you take a box of ammunition and you're going to be doing drills where you need to count how many rounds you're going to do, or you know your magazine holds 17 rounds, and, you know, it's very easy. You look there, rows of 5, okay, 5, you know, 15 plus 2 more. It's easy like that. If you don't mind counting in your head or on your fingers if you gotta, I use old like mayonnaise jars or mustard jars or plastic ones that aren't going to break, but this thing is small enough that I could fit it in this little can. So I have bigger ones like those almonds come in those big square plastic jars from like Costco or BJ's. In my bigger ammo cans, I have 2 of those. It'll hold 2 of those, and they each hold a lot of ammunition. So this takes up a lot of room in something like this, whereas, you know, you put as many as you want there, and wow. A lot of times, if I'm not bringing this with me, if I'm just going to be pistol shooting, I'll have a pistol in there, this much ammunition, unless I need more than that, and it all fits in this bag. Extra magazines. So there's nothing, when you go to the range, like I know by me, if we go to the indoor range, you're timed. So you want to be as efficient as you can. When you go to the range, either have your magazines loaded, not in your firearm, but you could have magazines loaded ahead of time. Or anything that you could do to kind of like maximize your time at the range and maximize your time shooting and training. You don't want to be sitting there loading magazines, loading magazines, loading magazines. It's, you know, especially when you only have X amount of time. Another thing I highly recommend is having a multi-tool with you. I'm big on Leatherman. I have a Gerber one also, but I got this a few years ago. It's a Leatherman Charge. Kind of pricey, but it's awesome. And it's got a million tools in there. You don't need one that crazy, but every now and then something, you know, goes down on your gun and you need to start getting in there to fix it or whatever. As you understand how, if you don't know how to do it, don't mess with it. Get a range safety officer or somebody else in there who has some experience and let them help you. But if you have the tool that'll help them help you, it's a home run. So I highly recommend having a multi-tool with you. A flashlight with spare batteries. Sometimes you know, looking for something in your bag, looking for something in your case, looking for something in your gun. And, you know, if you're shooting outdoors and it's starting to get dark and you want to just, you know, police the area, make sure you got all your stuff with you. There's a million uses to have a flashlight with you. But I highly recommend having a flashlight and extra batteries with you at the range. When it comes to some ranges are you push a button or use a wheel or some sort of mechanism to bring the target to you and put it back out away. Other times it's, you walk out there, you set up your target, you walk back and you're shooting. I have pretty good eyes, but I don't have great eyes. And unless you think so. I bring binoculars with me all the time. So I could check from wherever I am. They're not super powerful and they're kind of tiny and they fit right in there. And I could take a look and kind of see where my shots are going, especially if I'm trying to zero a sight or a scope or something like that. When it comes to marking your targets, you got to make sure you bring targets with you. Don't leave home without those. That's a must-have. I like to bring at least one cardboard one and then a bunch of paper ones, and then I could tape the paper ones. I use the cardboard thing because it has some structural integrity to it. So I put up that and shoot it up a bunch of times, and then I leave it hanging and I tape something else to it, which is why I always bring tape with me to the range. When I bring the target back and I'm going to mark it, oftentimes I use I always have different colored markers with me. So like if I'm going to use the same target more than once, or a lot of targets have more than one target on the big target. So I'll mark one with black, then I'll mark one with red, and I'll just know, all right, the first round was with black, the second round was with red, the third one was blue, the fourth green, and so on. I keep a little tape measure for measuring my groups or my spreads. So again, do you need that in the beginning? No, you could pretty much eyeball it like, wow, I hit the target that time. Good job, good job, good job. And then as you get better at it and you're like, oh man, what am I doing wrong? Or I'm off by 3 inches, a half an inch, 2 inches, 7 inches, and it's good to have one of these with you. As far as taking notes and being able to document your progress, and this round I shot this, or I shot this kind of ammunition on this kind of gun, and whatever. It's good to have a notepad. I like write in the rain because I shoot outside a lot, and when I'm going to take notes, I like to use the write in the rain with a Sharpie. I always have crayons in my bag too, both for my kids to color, but they work good on the write in the rain, and they write in the rain. So when I'm teaching, I used to have a fancy timer, but I broke it. It's a lot of money, and don't tell my wife. But I got to put it off until I get another one. I bring a stopwatch with me. I teach a lot of police officers, and a lot of the drills that you have to do to qualify each year require timed exercises. So like you have to shoot this many rounds in this amount of time, or you got to shoot this many rounds, reload, and then this many more rounds in this amount of time. So without my fancy timer, this thing will do. You could always use your phone, but I had a spare stopwatch, so I keep it with me. For shooting outdoors, sometimes depending on where you're shooting, you got to kind of rig up your own holder for targets. So I have some bank lines, just really strong cord, and some carabiners, some zip ties, some different ways to kind of maybe put something between a couple trees or between some targets that are already there, and I could then hang my target from the cordage. This is not the stapler I would recommend using at the range. Maybe for stapling paper targets to this. I just had this in the dojo, and I put it out here to remind me because I didn't have my other one with me. But the big silver, they're typically silver. It's got a big long lever, and it's a staple gun that you use for stapling stuff to a wall or telephone pole or whatever. Definitely have one of those in your range bag. When it comes to ammunition, I'm big on using dummy rounds. So these are bullets that they're not real bullets. They're the same shape and size and everything, but there's no projectile, there's no primer, there's no gunpowder. They just go click instead of bang. But they're great for practicing outside of the range, like dry fire and reload and that type of practice. But it's also good at the range for misfires and malfunction drills. So you load these in with your regular rounds, and then you practice how to address it when the gun goes click instead of bang. So I have them in a variety. Typically when I go teach, I'm either teaching somebody shotgun, pistol, AR-15. These are some dummy rounds for my long range rifle, which I'm practicing with. But again, these are your must-haves. Don't leave home without this. This is obviously bullets and magazines, must have. Binoculars, nice to have. Ruler, nice to have. Pen and paper, nice to have. Stopwatch, you probably don't need unless you're next level. Dummy rounds, nice to have. Should have. at some point. But if you're just getting started and you don't want to go spend a ton of money, then you start with like, hey man, just get me a couple sets of goggles. They're cheap enough, eye protection. If you get the ones that don't have the microphone where you could hear, they're cheap enough. Get 2 of them. This bag I got from LA Police Gear. I'm not sponsored by anybody. This is just me telling you what I use. But LA Police Gear, they make these bags. I use one. I have a bunch of these for different purposes, but I have a bunch of them. They're cheap, maybe like 25 bucks. And it's I've had this one for years. My dog chewed up on the handle and it's still going strong. I still use it. So you get one of these and you make that your range bag. And when this is not big enough for you, you're probably on to the next level of shooting. If you got questions about any of this stuff, put it in the comment section below. I know I kind of just like overview what I have here. If you got questions about any of the gear specifically, let me know in the comment section below. I know I'm a big, you know, what do you got there? Like, you know, I like gear. I like kit. I like, you know, if there's something out there that's better than what I have, I want to run good stuff. Certain things you can get by going with the cheap stuff, and certain things don't go cheap on. Multi-tool, don't go cheap. Binoculars, don't go cheap. Anything related to using your firearm and how it's going to function, definitely don't go cheap. Stuff that's going to save your life, don't go cheap. If you made it this far and you like what I'm teaching and preaching, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and like this video. If you love it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you got to have it, make sure you hit the bell notification button so YouTube will let you know when the next video drops. If you're really digging it and you want to have more, you can find us on all social media platforms at 5 Elements Tactical. Well, that's all I got for now, warriors. So until our paths cross again, pray for the best, prepare for the rest. I'm Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training. Thanks for watching.